Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the conceptual side of TradeRunner and ATG and how the different components work together. On its own, ATG TradeRunner does not trigger trades. Okay, and that's a very important point to understand in how it works. So ATG TradeRunner, the TradeRunner itself, has inputs and uses references in order to get some of the information it needs in order to operate a trade. The way this works is that an external source are provided to ATG as references, and you can see the 5 here in the list. These are the important ones. There's a long and short entry reference that provides the signals, the actual triggers to enter. Then there is references for the 0 and then 100 grid, which can be set to whatever the source decides. And then there's the trade type. So the basic flow is that you configure the TradeRunner with the references to that external source. In runtime, the external source will fire off a trade. It will set the subgraph for long or short entry to enter. TradeRunner will then receive that signal, and it will read the 0 and the 100 and the trade type, these 3 references, which it uses to build up the trade. Within the trade type, there is the configuration for what the trade looks like in terms of its management, where the stops are placed, and the target, and the trail, and so forth. And once it has all that, TradeRunner basically will place the trade and then manage it from there on out. Okay? So examples of this include the quick entries, an example study that hooks up into the TradeRunner and is a manual tool that does this, but it's not the only one that can be used. You can create your own references and your own signals and your own grids and trade types and plug them into TradeRunner, and it will work just the same. It will just receive, your signals and your grid and your trade type and manage it from there on out. So in that way, TradeRunner is very flexible, right? You can create your own add-ons and plugins and use that same study to actually execute the trade, while you focus on designing the strategy, the entry strategy and the grid and so on. All right, so examples of this to develop these external sources might be that you do it through a spreadsheet or an Axel custom study DLL. There's various studies that you can use that are built in with Sierra Chart, like the MACD crossover system or the stochastics crossover system. There's also, you can use the color bar based alerts and various studies that are in Sierra Charts that allow you to create your own signals without writing any code. It's mostly the alert code and spreadsheet type of code that's needed for that.